7 News in HD is brought to you by Lexus of Kendall.
Now, on the night team.
2 teenagers forced to hide when burglars stormed their South Florida home.
A family is in pain after a young boy was gunned down. Tonight, police are searching for the teenager they believe is responsible.
A close call when a baby is pulled from a pool, and it took a team effort to get that child out alive.
Severe weather sweeping across the country. Residents cleaning up after a messy mix. And it's not over yet. Problems aren't just the only things that stand out. We're taking a look back at the most memorable people behind those problems in a special Help Me Howard with Patrick Frazier. And from a dangerous drug to a mystery at sea, the top South Florida stories that claimed the spotlight this year in tonight's edition of 7's Top 7.
And we're following breaking news out of Southwest Miami-Dade. A 12-year-old boy rushed to the hospital after being shot multiple times. Hello and welcome, everyone. I'm Balkis Nuray.
I'm Lynn Martinez and for Craig Stevens. The news at 10 starts now.
This is 7 News at 10.
Hello again, everyone. We begin with the story of a 7-year-old child playing with presents, and just a day earlier was the victim of a drive-by shooting the next day.
That's right. We've got 7's Sheldon Fox on the story for us, and he is live in Southwest Miami-Dade. Sheldon?
Lynn and Belkis, they're remembering Amir Castro tonight, a 7-year-old boy who attended Coral Reef Elementary. They're lighting the candles. They're remembering a little boy who loved football. He loved to play with toy cars. Needless to say, he was taken way too soon. A grandmother, family members, and friends are lighting candles for who they're calling their angel, 7-year-old Amir Castro.
Amir is our guardian angel. God sent him our way.
Little Amir was shot just feet from the memorial made in his honor.
He liked football. He used to tell me that he loved me and all that stuff.
Breeze right there.
These kids were at the home of Amir's aunt and uncle when bullets came flying in the direction of the Southwest Miami-Dade house.
That went straight through.
Amir was inside, but the walls and windows of 15120 Jackson Street couldn't protect him.
The one that killed
Amir.
Amir's uncle says at least 6 kids from the ages of 5 and 15 were inside the home Sunday afternoon. Amir was the only person struck. The family dog was grazed by one of the bullets, according to those who live here. The shooter is yet to be caught, and Miami-Dade police say it is this man, 19-year-old Dravian Duke. Duke was said to have been involved in an argument here. He left and came back shooting, according to cops, from a white pickup that looks like this one. Police said they found the truck, seized it, and it's now considered evidence.
When these individuals that are arming themselves need to think twice about what they do, because they just took the life of a 7-year-old.
And as police look for who savagely took his life, those who love Amir have him in their hearts.
It's still hard. It's still hard. It's a hard pill to swallow.
Very hard tonight, and they're still out here at the memorial. Every few minutes, a different family member or friend will come up spontaneously to this fence here, lay a little something down, or light a candle. Do you know anything about this crime? The 19-year-old who is wanted in the street. Do you know anything about that man? If so, pick up the phone right away and call Crime Stoppers at 305-471-TIPS. We're live in Southwest Miami-Dade. Sheldon Fox, 7 News, Night Team.
We are also on the scene right now of this developing story. This is a news alert. This time a 12-year-old coming under the gun.
Danielle Knox is live on that scene for us. Danielle?
Hi, guys, and here's what we can tell you. The PIO just arrived on scene a couple of minutes ago, so we were able to get just a little more information here for you. Here is what we know. We do know the victim is 13 years old. His name is Eric Watson, Jr. We also know he does not live in this neighborhood. His grandmother does. He was apparently here visiting his grandmother. He was hanging out with friends. According to investigators, that is when that 13-year-old was shot. 3 times. Let's go to some video that we shot for you just a little while ago. As you can see, there is a scooter. That's the first thing that you're seeing in this video. We really don't know if the scooter is related. Initially, investigators said it was. We don't know for sure whether or not Watson was on that scooter or not, or how the scooter was involved. But again, this happened at the corner of 263rd Terrace and 136th Place at about 7:30 this evening. Now, as you can see, this has turned into a very active crime scene as investigators comb for clues and try to figure out exactly what happened here. Now, we spoke with a witness who did not want to be identified, but this is what he told us about what he heard and saw. I'm going to step out. You're going to go there. Let me go ahead and tell you what this person said. He said that apparently what he saw was that the kid was on the ground. He said he did see blood. We also spoke with other witnesses out here who also told us that one of the interesting things is that once that 13-year-old was shot, once Watson was shot, somebody came to him and actually was holding him and holding onto him for several minutes until police were able to arrive on scene and medics were able to arrive on scene and tend to him. And as you take a look behind me here, what you can see is this is still a very active scene, so this investigation does continue. The other thing we know is that 13-year-old Watson was conscious and breathing. Once he was put into that ambulance, he was transported to Nicholas Children's Hospital. At this time, we do know that he was conscious and breathing. We don't know his exact condition at this time. But once again, this 13-year-old, Eric Watson Jr., shot 3 times here in Southwest Miami-Dade. That is the very latest. Reporting live from Southwest Miami-Dade, I'm Danielle Knox, 7 News Night Team.
All right, the night team now on the scene of a bold burglary. Police say 2 men storming a home with 2 teens inside, and this happened in broad daylight. The 14-year-old and 17-year-old girls hiding inside until help arrived.
Tonight, neighbors are talking about this horror at home. The night team's Alex DePrado is live in Southwest Miami-Dade. He's got details on this. Alex.
Well, Belkis, those burglary suspects are teenagers as well. They stormed this home behind me and put this neighborhood on lockdown. Into the night, the SWAT team taking over this Southwest Miami-Dade neighborhood. Streets shut down as fences are scaled and a search is done. From the air and backyard by canines. The massive response by Miami-Dade police after this home was targeted with 2 teenage girls inside. People in the neighborhood were warned to stay inside.
They say the man was armed and dangerous to go in the house, and stay inside.
Cops say 17-year-old Leslie Marrero and her 14-year-old sister were home alone here at Southwest 152nd Court and 143rd Street when the backsliding glass door was shattered. They hid in a bathroom and called 911. As the first officer pulled up, they say 16-year-old Alejandro Armas took off running. He was arrested. After a 2-hour search, cops say they got the second burglar, 19-year-old Jonathan Castillo.
It happens everywhere. I mean, it happens here, it happens in Coral Gables, it could happen anywhere.
The arrest may have ended the search, but not the fear some in this community now feel.
I'm scared. I'm scared. Yeah, because you never know who's going to jump to your yard,
And tonight, police are looking for a third person, a female. They say she was the getaway driver and drove off in an unknown white vehicle. If you have any information, the number for Crime Stoppers is 305-471-TIPS. Live in Southwest Miami-Dade tonight, I'm Alex DePrado, 7 News Night Team.
Now on the night team, a rush to rescue after a child is pulled from his grandmother's pool. A group of people trying to save him before paramedics arrive. Tonight, that child is in critical condition. The night team's Brandon Byer is live at Joe DiMaggio Children's Hospital in Hollywood, where the child is still being treated. Brandon?
Ellen, that little boy clinging to life, as you mentioned, pulled from a pool, unresponsive. And tonight, we are learning it was more than just first responders that helped get him out.
Skyforce HD hovers above this pool in Miramar where a 1-year-old boy was found unresponsive Monday morning. Police say the baby was left in this home with several teenagers. He's now in critical condition at Joe DiMaggio Children's Hospital in Hollywood.
He did not initially have a pulse. Our units and our crews were able to get a pulse back on that child.
First responders are credited with giving the child a fighting chance. But there was another hero Monday morning, an unlikely one. A garbage truck driver named Andy Perez Garcia, who was flagged down by one of the teens.
I picked it up right away. I said, something's wrong.
Garcia ditched his truck and ran to the home. Inside, he found the baby and immediately started CPR.
Water was coming down, was coming out. It was coming out to me. But I didn't see no reaction from him. The water's coming out, but no reaction.
He continued the CPR until emergency responders arrived. The child was raced to the hospital while a worried group watched. Garcia tells 7 News he keeps a picture of Jesus in his personal truck.
To say good morning, good afternoon.
He feels like he was definitely guiding him Monday morning.
My wife, she always said, you always try to help people. I said, well, that's me. That's why it's natural on me.
Well, that little boy remains in the hospital. Last check, still in critical condition. The cause, how he ended up in the pool, all that remains under investigation. We're live tonight in Hollywood. Brandon Byer, 7 News Night Team.
And now, Mother Nature storming in. Twisters and fires flaring up. Rain, sleet, and snow pouring down.
This has made me realize how fragile life is.
Tonight, millions cleaning up after the mass destruction.
Well, residents in Texas are picking up the pieces of what's left of their belongings.
And now that storm system is packing a punch across the Midwest, and it's not done yet. This is the aftermath of a tornado that touched down in the Lone Star State Saturday. Residents in North Texas now cleaning up, salvaging whatever they can.
It was like a movie. I mean, I was running towards my closet and the doors and everything started caving in.
The twister part of a storm moving east, dumping snow across middle America. Nebraska slammed with snow. Parts of Indiana left underwater, as was Oklahoma. Broken Bow Lake turning into a floodgate with the water rising up to 10 feet. The nasty conditions stretching north through Illinois, where parts of that state are underwater. The weather forcing the cancellations of hundreds of flights and leaving passengers stranded.
One lady down there said that there were 700 canceled.
We had a flight to Las Vegas to go see fireworks on the 31st, and all flights are canceled. And we couldn't get a flight out of here until the 31st. So that's kind of to go out all the way out there for a day and a half. Didn't work out for us.
Meantime, on the West Coast, this is what's left of the Ventura County hillside. A volcano-like eruption lighting up the hill's Christmas night. The inferno scorching more than 1,200 acres, but is still only 70% contained. Helicopters dousing the flames that were sent shooting across the 101 due to the 40 and 50-mile-an-hour winds.
It's very sandy, and if you look down at my foot here, you can see how easily this soil digs up. Okay, there's no rock in it. There's maybe some pebbles.
2 firefighters died battling the blaze, which officials say destroyed the land vegetation, leaving a concern now for landslides during the rainy season, something else they have to contend with. We now turn things over to meteorologist Brent Cameron, who's monitoring the storm from the Weather Center. Brent?
Okay, Brent, thanks. A presidential candidate visiting an excited group of supporters during a South Florida stop. Former Florida Governor Jeb Bush hosted a meet and greet with voters at Chico's restaurant in Hialeah this morning. Among the topics covered, the Republican candidate said he's ready to get to work fixing the economy, rebuilding the military, and allowing local government to do more.
We need someone with proven leadership skills. Someone who has a steady hand. Someone who believes in the greatness of this country. For us to be serious about this, we need to restore America's greatness by investing in people again, rather than the government. We should shift power away from Washington, D.C.
Mr. Bush made stops in West Palm Beach and Ocala later in the day. Recent polls show he's tied for 5th place among Republican candidates.
Also in the news now, a game changer for a star NFL quarterback after facing doping allegations. Sports director Steve Shapiro live in the Plex with that story. Steve?
On the record, Peyton Manning denies taking human growth hormones, and the source for the story is also backing down.
The Arab-based network Al Jazeera reported football great Peyton Manning used HGH in 2011 while he was recovering from neck surgery. Manning angrily disputes the report.
I can't speak for any other athlete. I know what I've done. I know how hard I've worked during my 18 years of playing in the NFL. There are no shortcuts in the NFL. I've done it the long way. I've done it the hard way. To insinuate anything otherwise is a complete and total joke. It's defamation, and it really ticks me off.
Al Jazeera sent British hurdler Liam Collins undercover to try and expose American athletes. Collins made secret recordings of an interview with a former intern at the anti-aging Geyer Institute in Indianapolis. The intern, Charles Sly, says he fabricated the allegations to test Collins' legitimacy. And Sly now recants everything he told the Al Jazeera reporter.
The statements on any recordings or communications that Al Jazeera plans to air are absolutely false and incorrect. To be clear, I am recanting any such statements, and there is no truth to any statement of mine that Al Jazeera plans to air.
Manning did go to the Geyer Institute for holistic treatment while he was a player with the Indianapolis Colts. The Al Jazeera report says Manning had HGH sent to his wife so his name would not be attached to the shipments.
Some of the other athletes named in the report include baseball stars Ryan Howard and Ryan Zimmerman. Manning, by the way, is out now with an injured foot. I'll be back later in sports in the Newsplex. Steve Shapiro, 7 News.
We have this developing story, this one regarding Ethan Couch. You remember this teen? He was charged and claimed affluenza, that basically he was spoiled because he had so much money, was affluent. And that was his case. He's been on the run for a while with his mother, and now he's been caught in Puerto Vallarta in Mexico, near Puerto Vallarta.
He was sentenced 2 years ago for killing 4 people in a car crash involving drunk driving, and he was violating his probation, so now they caught him and his mom. More on this story coming up.
Also coming up, a family taking a dip when they watch a Grinch snatch their Christmas presents right off the shore. What happens next on Just One Station?
A pair of attempted burglars making a run for it after they realize they are caught in the act.
Help Me Howard helps solve dozens of problems a year, but sometimes it's the people in those stories that stand out the most. We're taking a look back at 2015 in tonight's special edition of Help Me Howard with Patrick Frazier. You're watching South Florida's Night Team, first at 10.
Now on Just One Station, a shore shocker. A family waiting in the water when they say somebody walked up, grabbed their Christmas presents right in front of their eyes. Just like that. That Florida family visiting South Florida when they decided to open their presents on the sand. It sounded like a good idea.
Cute idea, right? Well, they weren't going to let the Grinch steal their Christmas. No way. The Night Team's Rosh Lowe explains.
What a place to open your Christmas Day presents. The sand, the surf, the beautiful weather of Miami Beach. Tourists from Chicago had that idea Christmas morning, and after the opening of the presents, went for a swim in the ocean off First and Ocean. Those presents included expensive jewelry.
They left their property unattended. Mr. Donovan saw that. He watched them, took advantage of the fact they went for a nice swim after, exchanging gifts.
Cops say Jonathan Donovan took the opportunity to literally steal their Christmas.
Christmas morning, you don't expect something like this to happen, but the victims saw it going down. They chased after the suspect, say Miami Beach police. They actually caught up to him, and then they were afraid because police say the suspect said something to the effect of, "I'm a Navy SEAL, back off." So what did they do, the victims? Well, they got their 12-year-old son to go get a lifeguard who contacted Miami Beach police, who really saved this family's Christmas.
This guy, Mr. Donovan, is a really, really bad guy and a Grinch. And he tried to ruin Christmas for his family, but he failed because of the quick actions of 2 police officers who were driving by, were flagged down by the family. They stopped, was able to stop and arrest Mr. Donovan, and recovered more than $2,000 worth of property for this family. Christmas saved.
A story like this hits home for this mother and daughter visiting from Vancouver.
What's up?
stressful.
Well, I got robbed the week before Christmas, so
They took all our Christmas presents.
Yeah, there are people who do that.
I think it's super rude. Yeah, it's just like unnecessary and totally against Christmas spirits.
But this Miami Beach case has a happier ending. The tourists from Chicago back at home now, wanting to put this Christmas behind them, but at least they have their presents. A Christmas saved by 2 officers.
I look at the world with rose-colored glasses, so I always think there's always something good.
So this family, as I mentioned, now back at home in Chicago, didn't really want to come on camera for the story, but they are relieved to have everything back and relieved that Miami Beach police jumped into action. On Miami Beach, Rosh Lowe, 7 News 19.
Detectives sounding the alarm after a pair of would-be burglars got scared off by one. Surveillance video here showing the duo breaking into an apartment in Pompano Beach last month, but they took off empty-handed after the alarm went off. It happened at the Laguna Point apartment complex at Southwest 9th Avenue and 15th Street last month. If you have any information, call Crime Stoppers in Broward, 954-493-TIPS.
A grab and dash in a South Florida neighborhood. Surveillance video capturing a man stealing a backpack from an unlocked car and taking off. It happened along Northeast 10th Court and 202nd Lane in Northeast Miami-Dade last month. If you have information on this, call Crime Stoppers at 305-471-TIPS.
2 people saved at sea after abandoning their sinking ship over the weekend. The crew of a Haitian freighter forced to abandon ship when their vessel began taking on water in Cuban territorial seas. 2 Coast Guard helicopters hoisting the group up to safety after spotting their life raft. They were all taken to the Bahamas to be checked out and appear to be doing okay.
2015 almost over, but it was a busy one for Help Me Howard, and it wasn't just the issues 7 News helps resolve that are memorable, so are the people. The 19's Patrick Frazier takes a look back.
Just looking at my name and going, that's cool. We would rather make fun of ourselves than brag, but the simple truth, we hear from thousands of people each year, and we're able to help a lot of them. Each person is wonderful, a few unforgettable. Like Mark Tanner, who was ordered to pay his ex-wife's attorney $15,000. He tried to, in coins, dollar bills, and a few 10s and 20s thrown in.
I wanted to take up his time just like he took up my time.
There was Frank Cornelius, who was worried when his wife developed breast cancer and it left her depressed.
You feel scared. You feel like, you don't know what's going to happen.
He cheered her up by creating this wrap around her SUV to remind her she was going to beat cancer. The vehicle inspired her and the people she saw while driving.
Roll the window down if we at the stoplight, give me a word of encouragement.
Doris doesn't want to be a star. She just wanted some help with a hen and her chicks that decided to call her backyard home.
Somebody needs to take them and put them where they should be, on a farm or something.
After our story aired, we lost count of how many viewers called offering to take in the baby chicks.
There she comes, and then she throws things over and walk back.
Speaking of an unwanted neighbor, Sonia Bennett had one that liked to throw manure in her yard. Sonia videotaped her. The neighbor didn't seem to care.
I'm almost 100% positive that the baby was fathered by me.
Dave Adams did care. For a baby that his ex-girlfriend said was not his. It was her new boyfriend's. Dave paid for a paternity test. A little girl now calls him Daddy.
That's my daughter. That's my daughter. I knew it.
Nice to meet you.
At 100 years old, Ruby Parrott just doesn't like bad surprises. Then the county notified her about a $2,400 lien on her property from back in 1994 that she knew nothing about. After we talked to Miami-Dade, they wiped out the lien.
Thank you for your help.
Oh, we're glad to do it.
Tamara really wanted peace and quiet. But men kept knocking on her door after some weasel went on an app called Grindr, where gay men hook up with each other. That weasel gave them Tamara's address.
Whenever somebody knocks on the door, my blood pressure just goes up.
Legally Taken didn't want to be left alone. They wanted attention. A young group of rockers who have a lot of talent. They also had a manager who they say didn't pay them for the gigs they sang at. And Anise and her friends were also great entertainers, dancing at South Florida nightclubs. The crowds loved them.
It's fun to wear different costumes.
Unfortunately, the person who hired them liked their paychecks more and wouldn't turn them over to them. We got them to pay some of the money.
I think without Help Me Howard, he probably wouldn't have paid me $1 single.
Finally, we joked if we ever had a bad day, we were just going to put Maggie Wiggins' laugh on a loop and play it over and over. That would cheer anyone up.
Oh, I'm excited.
Oh, yeah, she bought gas that had water in it. It damaged her car. We got her reimbursed by the gas company. It's true. Smiles are infectious. Now, we get tens of thousands of calls and emails a year. Each person has one thing in common. They have a problem. So if you've laid an egg trying to resolve a grinding issue, if you're ready to wrap things up, give us a call. Hopefully we'll be able to give birth to a solution and leave you rocking and rolling along. Well, this helped me out. I'm Patrick Frazier, 7 News.
I don't know how he does it. I don't know how he does it. Not solve people's problems, come up with those amazing puns every week. He always gets a pun that matches the problem.
Does he write that?
It's perfect. He probably does.
I'm sure he does.
I'm sure he does. Good work, Howard and Patrick.
It's my favorite segment. Next to yours, your fight thing. Up next on South Florida's Night Team, for the most interesting characters, Help Me Howard, Patrick Frazier assisted, as we just talked about.
The top stories across the Sunshine State. We're going to break them down, the biggest ones of 2015 in tonight's 7's Top 7.
Also, a fisherman coming face-to-face with quite the sight off Florida's coast.
And are you ready to ring in the new year? We've got a sweet treat to go with your champagne. Lorena Estrada is whipping it up in tonight's Bye.
I love that segment.
Well, from police officers to the other side of the law to tragedy at sea, people across the country had their eyes on South Florida.
Sure did. The Night Team's Craig Stevens now taking a look back at the top stories from 2015 in tonight's 7's Top 7.
South Florida in the national spotlight in 2015 after a Broward Sheriff's deputy was charged in the shooting death of Jermaine McBean. In December, a grand jury indicted Deputy Peter Peraza for manslaughter. McBean was walking home in Oakland Park 2 years ago, carrying an air rifle he purchased from a pawn shop. The deputy told investigators McBean ignored numerous orders to stop, but his family says McBean was wearing earbuds at the time and couldn't hear them. His mother spoke when the indictment came down.
Thank God. Thank you, Jesus, for making them see the injustice that's been done to my son.
Another police officer also facing criminal charges. Fort Lauderdale officer Victor Ramirez was caught on cell phone video pushing a homeless man to the ground, slapping him across the face and cursing at him.
I'm not around with you. Don't touch me. Don't touch me.
He was charged with battery and falsifying records. All South Florida police officers battling a dangerous drug epidemic that took hold this year. The synthetic drug Flocka sparked bizarre behavior like this man running naked through traffic. Another man impaled himself trying to scale the fence at Fort Lauderdale Police Headquarters.
Went into his leg and exited in the rear.
More than 40 people have died while taking the drug.
There is no drug that I've ever seen in my 36 years in law enforcement that even comes close to Flocka.
A mystery at sea in South Florida. 2 14-year-old boys disappeared after taking off on a fishing trip. Austin Stefanos and Perry Cohen's 19-foot boat was found capsized off Jupiter Inlet days later. The community, including neighbor, NFL Hall of Famer Joe Namath, joined in the family's desperate search.
They had a mishap somewhere along the line. These boys have been out there doing this forever.
After an 8-day search, the Coast Guard stopped looking for the boys.
The decision to suspend was excruciating and gut-wrenching.
Another tragedy at sea took the lives of 33 crew members on the cargo ship El Faro in October. The ship sank during Hurricane Joaquin on the way from Jacksonville to Puerto Rico. Frustrations rising with the tides. Unusually high supermoon tides were blamed for flooding from Fort Lauderdale to Miami Beach. President Obama blamed climate change.
You go down to Miami, and when it's flooding at high tide on a sunny day, fish are swimming through the middle of the streets. There's a cost to that.
The cost of keeping Uber in Broward County priceless to some, devastating to others. The popular ride-sharing service pulled out of Broward in July, saying it couldn't comply with a new ordinance that would include extensive background checks for drivers. The public outcry was swift.
Fix it. Fix it. Get Uber back. We love Uber.
Thousands signed petitions demanding Uber stay despite the taxi industry's opposition. In October, county commissioners eased restrictions allowing Uber to return to service. Miami-Dade is still working on the rules of the road for ride-sharing services. Tomorrow night, I'll look at the top national stories of 2015. In the Newsplex, I'm Craig Stevens, 7 News.
Craig's everywhere.
He really is.
Amazing.
He's incredible. And he's off. He's not even here. And there he is.
And he's committed to sending in a story via satellite.
As we continue our special Bite series, Lorena Estrada is dishing out a New Year's traditional treat straight from her Greek family's recipe book. That is what we're cooking tonight. So let's grab a bite. The chef, 7 News reporter Lorena Estrada. You'll find her on the scene.
Inside this post office, there are 2 bulletproof windows.
Wherever news breaks, she's a hometown girl.
Born and raised in Miami to a Greek mother, Nicaraguan father.
Lorena grew up traveling the world and speaks 3 languages.
They would talk to me in Greek, and I would talk back to them in Spanish, and then I learned English at school.
This FIU grad loves to hang out with her husband, Jason, and her family, especially her grandma.
I call her Yaya. That's Greek for grandmother.
Now, Lorena's in the kitchen with Yaya to make the dish we're making today, vasilopita, a traditional Greek New Year's cake.
So good. I love it.
And bonus, this cake comes with a coin for good luck.
We cut the cake and see who gets the good fortune for the year, and it's whoever gets the coin.
First, zest an orange, then squeeze the orange for the juice. Okay. Now, I think we melt the butter.
Okay, she says no. First, we're going to be mixing the baking soda and the flour.
See?
Okay, Yaya rules.
Never argue with Yaya. Now add flour and baking powder and blend. Now it's time to melt the butter.
So I'm just using a pan to get ready to mix everything in. First, we're going to go ahead and pour the butter in.
Beat the melted butter for about 3 minutes. Then add eggs to a bowl and beat those as well.
For 3 to 4 minutes until they get really fluffy.
Now add sugar and blend again. Pour in some milk and the orange juice and zest.
This cake could feed up to 12 people. Normally, we're a house of 2, so we're going to be using a pan. And we're going to dump everything in.
Add the wet ingredients, then the dry, and blend. Now add the melted butter and blend until the batter is nice and smooth. Next, spray a pan with butter.
Make sure you don't spray Yaya. Yeah. Sorry, Yaya.
Oops.
I sprayed her.
Yaya's a good sport, though. She helps put the batter into the pan, and it's almost ready to bake.
Shake it up a little bit. Get it all in there. Nice and even. Can't do it without Yaya.
Bake it at 350 for 30 minutes until lightly brown. When it's done, let it cool and add the coin.
The coin has been sanitized and we are ready to put it in. So Yaya, ¿cómo lo ponemos? I'm asking her, how do we put it in?
Yaya pushes the coin into the bottom and turns the cake over.
Así y después así.
Now it's ready to decorate. They make it snow with a simple powdered sugar on top.
You just tap it, you just have fun with it.
So let's get this party started. And it's a toast to the new year with a cold glass of Prosecco and a delicious slice of vasilopita. Wonder where that coin is.
I got the coin!
Yeah! All right, Lorena, and a happy, healthy, and very lucky 2016 to all. Well, for more info on this and other recipes, check out our website at WSVN.com and click on features, then click on Bite. And you can also check out my Bite blog that's on our website as well. Evgaristo, Lorena, and Yaya. That's thank you in Greek. 7 Sports is up next, so keep it right here. Hey, that's a wrap for us here first at 10. Ciao, ciao. I'm Balkis Nuray.
I'm Lynn Martinez. We're still together. We'll be together with you for another 30 minutes. 7 News at 11 is next.